in Temple Beth Israel land. Thank you all for joining us if you are not with us on Zoom but are on Facebook or YouTube. We appreciate your attendance and so I'd like to, I believe we have Rabbi Carrier and Cantor Ruth, turn it over to you for some words of welcome.
All right, Paul, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Ruchim Habayim, a blessing of welcome on everybody who is gathered here and there in this wonderful joint commemoration of Tisha B'Av that we're doing here with Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center and our friends at TBI in Pomona. We're really grateful to be able to gather for this occasion, even though it's not as joyful an occasion as we often gather for. As I was sharing with the people here at PJTC last night, some insight that I got from my teacher, Rabbi Ed Feinstein, that Tisha B'Av, while a tragic day, has a kind of mental health genius to it, in the sense that we take all of our saddest days and roll them into a single day to mark them. Because in reality, if we marked and mourned every tragedy in Jewish history on the day that it happened, we would essentially never stop crying. And I don't believe that that's the life that the Holy One wants for us. And so what we do instead is we create this vessel for our pain. And by having this kli, by having this vessel, we can dwell in it appropriately without it overflowing and consuming our lives. And in this way, we are neither able to forget the pain of the past and the healing wisdom that it gives us, nor are we consumed by it. And that we are able to gather like this every single year for many, many years now is a testament to the healing and wisdom of this tradition. And the rabbis of the Talmud considered this such a sad day. They said, you can't do anything fun whatsoever. You can't dance, you can't get haircuts, because haircuts are fun. And you can't do the thing that we love to do the most, which is study Torah. They said, what do you mean we can't study Torah? Well, it's fun. You can't do it. But they said that is the source of our life. Our traditions, our texts, our sacred literature is the water that we need to live. And they said, okay, we'll mark off one book for study on this day, and that is the book of Echa, the book of Lamentations. And so tonight, we're going to begin with Ma'ariv as the sun is setting. And then we are going to have Havdalah, which will look a little bit different than the normal Havdalah. As we're entering the fast day, there won't be the bracha associated with wine or spices, but we'll still mark the division of occasions. Cantor Aviva Rosenblum will be sharing a very special musical offering that is unique to this confluence of the calendar, and I hope she'll tell us more about that. And then we'll commence with the reading of Echa, of the Book of Lamentations. Really, really honored and delighted, even on this sad occasion, to be joining with our friends at TBI, Cantor Paul, Rabbi Kupitz, and of course, Cantor Ruth is here with me. And again, a blessing of welcome on all of you who have marked this holy occasion. And thank you for being with us. I'll now hand it over to Cantor Paul for Nigun.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Carrier. We are Just orienting the our video camera here so you can see me. There I am. So I'm going to start off with a nigun based on the text for an old kina, a lamentation prayer from our tradition called Elitzion. So I'm going to start with the nigun. I invite you to join me as you're comfortable. You'll notice that none of the chazanim cantors are using instruments tonight, as it's traditional not to play musical instruments on a day such as this. So please join me, and I'll chant the first few verses of the Kina Elitzion. But first, I'll share the words in English. It says, "Mourn, O Zion, and her cities like a woman in her birth pangs, and like a maiden wrapped in sackcloth for the husband of her youth. Mourn for the palace, the holy temple that was abandoned due to the guilt of the sheep of her flock, and for the coming of the revelers of God within the temple's rooms, for the exile of the servants of God, the pleasant singers of her songs, and for their blood that was spilled like the water of her rivers." Yai dai, yai dai, yai dai, 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 dai. Die, 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 die. Die, die, die. Die, 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 die. Yai, die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Elitzion ve'arecha, כמו אישה בצירך, וכי בתולה חגורת צח, על בעל נעוריה, עלי ארמון אשר נוטש, באשמת צאן עדריה, ועל ביאת וחרפי אל, בתוך מקדש קדרך, עלי גלות משתל, נעימי שיר זמריה, ועל דמם אשר שופך, כמו מימי יוריה. I die, 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 I die, 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 die. Die, 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 I die, die, die. Die, 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 I die, die, die. I die, 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 I die, die, die. So Cantor Ruth is going to lead us in Ma'ariv.
Yes. If you can spotlight downstairs, I appreciate it. Spotlight on downstairs.
Cantor Ruth, I'm hearing some audio, but it's sort of distant and unclear.
No, because the signal is coming from me. No, Lee needs to spotlight. The cat stairs, right?
I think we'll be able to hear you okay.
Paul, if you let us, we need to we need to be able to spotlight the cat's terrace.
Okay. Spotlight their PJTC main video there.
Can you see, Paul? Can you see, if you can see the cat's terrace? Please nod.
Yes, it's clear.
We won't be able to. Okay, great.
And we're going to add my spotlight.
Let's start with
to yours.
Mariv.
We'll add my spotlight next to yours.
I'm going to ask you to please rise. I'm going to turn to east for Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Adonai Mevorach. Baruch Adonai Mevorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. אשר בדברו מהרי ברבים מחוכמה פותח שרים ובתבונה משנה עיתים ומחליף את הזמנים ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיכם ברקיע תרצו לבריאים בלילה ולעולם לחושך וחושך מפני אור. Bring it down. Cantor Paul, I'm going to continue with the Chatimot because we have a little bit of a technical difficulty here.
Okay, I'm ready to do it if you have, but go ahead.
We won't be able to hear you, so okay, go ahead.
That's fine, Ruth. You can do the whole thing. Thank you.
מעביר יום ומביא לילה, מבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, אמרי ורבים. We join together in the next page with the אהבת עולם. אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך, לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. We join together. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. מלכותו לעולם. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. We'll continue with מי כמוך. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקעים לפני משה, זילינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כיפד אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גל ישראל. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, ועמידנו מלכנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. We continue with the Chatzi Kaddish. יתקדש ויתקדש שם רבה, וילמד דברי חירותו וימליך מלכותו וחייכון ומכון וחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו.
Amen.
מבורך לעולם יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה, אלא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירם בעלמה ואמרו.
Amen.
We continue with a silent Amidah. You may be seated when you're done with your personal prayers. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. We continue with Kaddish Shalem on the top of the next page. יתגדל ויתקדש שמר רבה, וילמד ויברך וימלך מלכותה, וחי יכונו ומכונו וחי תכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמר קרי וימרו. יש מרבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי דקודשה. לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירם בעלמה וימרו. תתקבל צלות תורמאותון דכל ישראל קודמה ובון דבישמיה וימרו. יהי שלום הרע משמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל וימרו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל וימרו.
Amen. I believe we're going to reserve Aleinu for the end of our service this evening. For right now, what we'd like to do is I'd like to invite Cantor Aviva to share her songs with us. And if you could say a few words about why this calendrical confluence is a very holy time.
Spotlight me. Shalom, everybody. I'm Cantor Emerita from Temple Israel of Hollywood and also an active member of PJTC. I live in Altadena. I'm going to sing a song first commemorating Hiroshima Day, which was today, during the day, all day and night, on the regular calendar, the secular calendar. Hiroshima Day is observed on August 6th to commemorate the atomic bombing of Hiroshima, Japan, in 1945 at the end of World War II. The bombings killed over 200,000 people in just seconds and injured thousands more. It was 70 years ago this week that the United States dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima. The bombing annihilated a large swath of the city, including a school where more than 80% of the children who died were between 6 and 11 years old. Of course, the bombing, Japan was allied at the time with the enemies of the United States, Germany, etc. And that bombing plus the bombing of Nagasaki ended World War II, enabled World War II to end. However, we still recognize the horrific killing of all of the people who died out on Hiroshima, in Hiroshima on that day. So I'm going to sing a song called I Come and Stand at Every Door. The melody is taken from a Celtic folk melody called The Great Silkie. It was recorded by folk singer Judy Collins, and the lyrics were adapted from a poem by Turkish poet Nazim Hikmet and translated into English. And who speaks is a 7-year-old girl who was killed at Hiroshima. I come and stand at every door, but no one hears my silent prayer. I knock and yet remain unseen, for I am dead, for I am dead. I'm only 7, though I died in Hiroshima long ago. I'm 7 now, as I was then. When children die, they do not grow. My hair was scorched by swirling fire. My eyes grew dim, my eyes grew blind. Death came and turned my bones to dust, and that was scattered by the wind. I need no fruit, I need no rice, I need no sweets, nor even bread. I ask for nothing for myself, for I am dead, for I am dead. All that I ask is that for peace. You fight today, you fight today, so that the children of this world may live and grow and laugh and play. Shalom.
Thank you, Cantor Aviva. Before I hand it over to Cantor Paul for Havdalah, I'm going to, for the folks here, we have some candles around the periphery and we have some more candles over there so that we can join in with TBI for Havdalah. Cantor Paul, over to you.
We're on mute now. Can I have some, do you hear me, Phil?
Yes.
We have audio? So the blessing for Havdalah in this case is only for the Aish, only for the candle. If you think about it, there's a logical reason why, because of Tisha B'Av, and it's being a fast day. We do not say a bracha over wine until after Tisha B'Av, and because of the mournful nature of Tisha B'Av, the blessing for spices is eliminated. So it's only a bracha on the Eish, and I'll chant it in the Eish Pesach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei me'orei ha'esh. I think our next part of the program is the chanting of Echa, the Book of Lamentations. And for that, I'm going to turn it over to Rabbi Kupitz. This mic.
Is this live, Phil, on Zoom? Is it now? Yes, great. All right. Viva, can you just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Oh, is there anybody there who can give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Just once. I just want to make sure that we have. Okay, we're good. All right. So as we jump into the book of Eicha, Rabbi Carrier mentioned at the beginning that we are not supposed to study Torah on Tisha B'Av because of its joyful nature. So the one thing we were allowed to study was this book of Eicha, which is full of it's called Lamentations, and it is full of lamentations of destruction. And one of the things that I want to just talk about momentarily is the way that this falls, not only Eicha, but this whole time of Tisha B'Av. So we are completing what is often known as the 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks of semi-mourning that lead up to Tisha B'Av. And in those weeks, we have special haftarot that are all focused on lament and on destruction. And then Eicha is sort of the pinnacle of that. And we are now going to be leading in, beginning with next Shabbat, with Shabbat Nachamu, into 7 weeks of consolation, where we have haftarot that are meant to build us up and give us consolation as we move toward Rosh Hashanah, as we move toward the new year. I'd like to point out that there are three weeks of the destruction and 7 weeks of consolation. That both 3 and 7 are numbers that appear over and over again, are patterned in Jewish life, but we've chosen the rabbis choose a much shorter time to focus on the destruction and a much longer time, perhaps, that it takes us to rebuild ourselves. From a spiritual perspective, perhaps sometimes we need to break ourselves down. We need to sit and mourn and lament in order to then pick ourselves up and begin to reconstruct ourselves. In a sense, perhaps we need to hit rock bottom so that we can begin to reconstruct ourselves spiritually over these 7 weeks and as we lead into Rosh Hashanah. Built within this idea of Tisha B'Av, the day of lament is also redemption. The rabbis teach, the tradition teaches that Mashiach, that the Messiah will be born on Tisha B'Av. And that built within the day that we think of our greatest calamity are also the seeds of our redemption. And from a personal spiritual level, perhaps to take that for ourselves as well. There are so many challenging things that we've experienced in our world, so many personally challenging things that each of us experience in our own lives. And sometimes the seeds to the next chapter of our life are planted at those times. And if we nourish them and find ways to allow them to grow, they can flourish as we move forward. So as we focus here on our lamentation, on our text, we also begin to sow seeds of redemption, which we'll be tending to over these next 7 weeks.
Thank you, Rabbi. I'm going to have the honor of chanting portions of the first chapter of Eicha. Just a reminder that for those of you who are online, either on Facebook or on the Zoom, there are links to the Eicha text, the version that we're using in the chats. In the case of Facebook, it's in a previous, if you just scroll down to the TBI posting just before that, if you're on our Facebook page, there's a link there. The link is also at tbipomona.org, right on the front page. Just go to the calendar section. And I think, at least for the first chapter, what I will do is I'm going to chant the first 5 verses and the last 3 verses, and I'll at least share those in English with you before I do so. Chapter 1. Eicha, how can it be? She sat alone, the city so great, so swelled with people. She was like a widow, the one great among the nations, ministering among the states, became a slave caste. Crying, will she cry in the night, her tear upon her cheek? There is none for her, no comforter from all her lovers, all her companions played traitor with her. They became for her enemies. She, Judah, was exiled by poverty and by so much hard labor. She sat among the nations, not finding any rest. All her pursuers caught up with her between the confined places. Zion's roads are mourning from being without festival goers. All her gates are desolated. Her priests are moaning, her girls grieving. And she, it is bitterness for her. Her tormentors were at the head. Her enemies had ease. For Yud-He Vav-He, the Eternal, aggrieved her for the greatness of her sins. Her babes walked captive before foe. Chapter 1, verse 1. Echa Yosheva Bava Badan Ha'ir Rabahati Am Haita Ka'almana Rabati Vagoyim Sarati Bamdinot Haita Lamas Bachutivke Alayla Vedimata al lecheya ein la menachem mikol ohaveha kol re'eha bagduva hayula le'oyevim galata Yehuda me'oni umerov avodah Hi Yasheva Vagoyim Lo Matza'a Vanoach Kol Rodefeha Hasiguha Ben HaMetzarim Darchei Tzion Avelot Mibeli Baemoed Kol She'areha Shomemim Kohaneha Ne'anachim Betuloteha Nugot Vehimarla Hayu Tzareha Lerosh An Oyeve Hashalu Ki Adonai Hoga Al Ro Pishaeha Olaleha Halechu Shevi Lifnei Tzar. Now moving to verse 20. Seem to be having a problem here. Sorry. Got it now. See, Adonai, for mine is torment, my guts were churning. My heart overturned within me, for rebelling I rebelled, from outside, sword bereaving, in the house like death itself. Verse 21. They listened, for I am moaning. There is no comforter for me. All my enemies listened for my evil doom. They rejoiced, for you did it. You brought the day you called for, and let them become like me. May all their evil come before you, and deal to them as you dealt with me for all my sins. for so much are my sighs, and my heart is sickened. Back to the Hebrew for verse 20. Re'ei Adonai kitzar li me'ai chomar maru nehepach libi bekirbi ki maro mariti michutz shikela cherev babayit kamaved Samehu ki ne'enacha ani en menachem li kol oyevai shameu ra'ati sasu Ki ata asita, heveta yom karata, veihu chamoni, tavo kol ra'atam lefanecha, ve'oleh lamo, ka'asher olata, Li al kol pesa'ah ki rabot anachnu v'libi dava. End of chapter 1.
And I will be continuing with chapter 2. So if it's possible to spotlight me, that would be useful. Meanwhile, I don't have the same, thank you. I don't have the same translation that Cantor Bush does. I'm reading from this book here, chanting from this book here. So I'm going to do chapter 2, 1 through 5. And then the last 2 sentences of that chapter. So I will read the translation that I have. Echa, alas, the Lord has covered with a cloud the daughter of Zion in his anger. He has cast down from heaven unto earth the splendor of Israel. He has not remembered his footstool in the day of his anger. Brought waste without pity by the Lord are all of Jacob's habitations. He has thrown down in his wrath the stronghold of the daughters of Judah. He has brought them down to the ground. He has polluted the kingdom and its princes. Cut off by him in fierce anger is all the horn of Israel. He has withdrawn his right hand in the presence of the foe. He has burned in Jacob like a flaming fire, which consumes everything. Drawn has he now his bow like an enemy, standing with his right hand like a foe. He slew all who were pleasant to the eye. In the tent of the daughter of Zion he has poured out his fury like fire. Enemy is the Lord become. He has swallowed up Israel. He has swallowed up all her palaces. He has destroyed his strongholds. He has increased in the daughter of Judah wailing and lamentation. So if you'd like to show the Hebrew, I will start with the beginning of chapter 2, if the Hebrew can be seen. Just let me know if I should just start singing or if you can do, good, okay. Chapter 2. Echa Yaiv be'apo Adonai et bat Zion Ishlich mishamayim eretz tiferet Yisrael ולא זכר אדום רגליו ביום אפו. בילה אדוני ולא חמל. את כל נאות יעקב הרס בעברתו. מבצרי בת יהודה הגיעו לארץ, חילל ממלכה ושריה. גדע בכורי אף, כל קרן ישראל השיב אחור, ימינו מפני אויב. ויבער ביעקב כאש להבה, אוכלה סביב. דרך קשתו כאויב, ניצב ימינו כצר, ויהרוג כל מחמדי עין. באוהל בת ציון שפך כאש חמתו. היה אדוני כאויב, בילה ישראל, בילה כל ארמנותיה, שיחת מבשריו. וירב בבת יהודה, תעניה ועניה. I'm now skipping to sentence 21. Thank you. Again, I can't see the English clearly enough to read it from here, so I'll read it from my translation. Unto the ground of streets have fallen both young and old, my virgins and my young men fallen by the sword. You slew them in the day of your anger. You killed and did not pity. Violence all around me did you call, as in the day of solemn assembly. Thus there was none in the day of the Lord's anger who escaped or who remained. Those tenderly nursed and reared by me, the enemy consumed. Sentence 21. Im tochalna nashim piryam olede tipuchim. Sorry, I started too early. Sentence 21, starting with shachvu. Shachvu la'aretz chutzot na'ar v'zaken. בתולותיי ובחוריי נפלו וחרב, הרגת ביום אפיך, טבחת ולא חמלת. תקרא כיום מועד מגוריי מסביב, לא היה ביום אף אדוני פליט ושריד. אשר טיפחתי וריביתי, אויבי חירם. Now we'll continue with that chapter 3, Gimel. And it's interesting that chapter 3 is chanted in a different melody than the other chapters. It's in the Fragish mode, sort of like the tune of Hava Nagila, even though it's not at all joyful. So I'll be chanting sentence 1 through sentence 21. And you will notice that these are also an alphabetical acrostic, but this time there's 3 lines for each of the letters of the alphabet. So 3 lines starting with Aleph, 3 lines starting with Bet, 3 lines starting with Gimel. Ah, I am the one who has seen affliction by the rod of God's wrath. Am I not driven on by God in darkness and not in light? Against me does God turn his hand over and over again all the day. By God are wasted all my flesh and skin, broken by him are my bones. Built up against me, God has set poison and hardship. Black are the places where God makes me dwell like unto those long dead. Closely he fences me so I cannot get out. He has made my fetters heavy, calling, crying for help, and he rejects my prayers. Cut stones he uses to enclose my ways. He has made my paths crooked. Darkly he waits for me as a bear, as a lion in a secret place. Desolate has he made me, has turned my way, has pulled me into pieces. Deeply he bent his bow and set me as a target for the arrow. Even into my vitals has he shot the arrow of his quiver. Ever a derision have I become to all my people, their song all of the day. Enclosed within me he has put bitterness, has sated me with wormwood. Full into the dust he has ground me, has broken my teeth with gravel stones. Far off from peace is now my soul removed. I forgot prosperity. Forsaken is my strength, I said. My hope is perished before God. Giving remembrance to my affliction and anguish is wormwood now and poison. Ground low within me are the recollections of my soul. Giving reply to my heart, I do have hope. Ani agever aoni. Beginning of chapter 3. Beshevet evrato. Oti nahag vayolach choshech velor. Ach biyashuv yafoch yado kol hayom. Bila v'sario ve'ori shibar atzmotai. בנה עלי ויקף ראש ותרעה, במחשכים הושיבני כמתי עולם. גדר בעדי ולא אצא הכביד נחשתי, גם כי אצעק ואשבע שטן תבילתי. גדר דרכי בגזית, נתיבותי עיווה. דוב עורב הוא לי, ארי במסתרים, דרכי סורר ויפשכני, שמני שומם, דרך קשתו ויציבני, כמטרה לחץ. הביא בכליותי פני אשפתו, הייתי שחוק לכל עמי, נגינתם כל היום. הספיאני במרומים, הרבני לענה, ויגרס בחצץ שיני, הכבישני באפר, ותזנח משלום נפשי, נשיתי טובה, ואומר עבד נצחי, ותאכלתי מאדוני. זכור עוני ומרודי, לענה וראש. זכור תזכור ותשוח עלי נפשי, זאת אשיב אל ליבי, על כן אוכי. I do have hope. Going to the last four verses. Verse 61 of chapter 3, Samach Aleph, starting with Shamata. Utterings which they make you hear, O God, and all their plots against me, upon the lips of all my adversaries are murmurs, mutterings all the day. Uprising, down sinning of the enemy, see, O God, they sing their taunts to me. Vow them a recompense, O God, according to their deeds. Vilify them with your curse. Give them hardness of heart. Visit upon them anger and destruction. Purge them from under the heavens of Adonai. 61 Samach Aleph. Shamata cherpatam Adonai, kol machshavotam anai. שפתי קמי והגיונם עלי כל היום. שבטם וקימתם הביטה, אני מנגינתם. תשיב להם גמול אדוני כמעשה ידיהם. תיתן להם מגינת לב, תעלתך להם. תרדוף באף ותשמידם, מתחת שמי Adonai.
I'm going to ask now to Move on to chapter 4. I'm going to chant the first 3 verses and the first and the last 3 verses. Feel free to join in the Hebrew or lean on the English translation of it.
Page 20.
Page 20. Eicha yuam zav ishne haketem atov תשתפכנה אבני קודש וראש כל חוצות בני ציון היקרים המסולאים בפז היכן נחשבו לי לנבלי חרס מעשה ידי יוצר גם תנים חלצו שד העניקו גוריהם בתמי לאכזר קיינים במדבר. Continuing with Kaf, chapter verse 20, on page 23. Page 23, verse 20. רוח אפינו משיח אדוני נלכד בשחיתותם אשר אמרנו בצילו נחיה בגויים שישי ושמחי בת אדום יושבת בארץ עוץ גם עלייך תעבר כוס תשכרי ותתארי תם עוונך בציון לא יוסיף להגלותך פקד עוונך בת אדום גילה על חטאותייך. We're going to continue with the next chapter. Sondra will be leading us. Just stay here. Go ahead.
Zichor Adonai Mehaya lanu habita Urei erchepotenu Nachalatenu Mehefchal zarim matenu Enochrim Yitomim hayinu Ve'en avimotenu Amanot Mimenu Bechesed shatinu Eitzenu Bimchir yavo Al savarenu Nirdafnu Yaganu Velo chunach lanu Mitzrayim Natanu yad Ashur Lisboa lachem Avotenu chatu ve'enam va'anachnu avonotehem savanu avadim moshlu porech emiadam v'nafshenu navi lachmenu mipnei cherev chamidbar Orenu ketanur nichmaru mipnei zal afot ra'av nashim betzion inu betulot בערי יהודה. שרים בידם נתלו, נזקנים לא נהדרו. בחורים תיכון נשאו, ונערים בעץ כשלו. זקנים משער שבתו, שבת משוש ליבנו, נהפך לאבל מחולנו. נפלה עטרת ראשנו, אוי נא לנו, כי חטאנו. על זה היה דווה ליבנו, על אלה חשכו עינינו. על הר ציון שועלים חייכו בו. אתה אדוני לעולם תשב, כיסאך לדור ודור. למה לנצח תשכחנו, תעזבנו לאורך ימים. השיבנו אדוני אליך, ונשובה חדש עמנו כקדם. כי מעוז מאסתנו, חצבת עלינו עד מאוד. חשיבנו אדוני אליך, ונשובה חדש ימינו כקדם.
Before we conclude our service, there's two things I want to do. First, just thank everyone who took part in this service, whether through chanting or singing, leading us in prayer, or participating in this holy occasion. And God willing, you are all able to rise once more, not yet, but sometime in the near future from your cushions. Hopefully that'll work out. But no, I want to thank all of our friends at TBI, Cantor Paul, Rabbi Kupitz. I want to thank Cantor Aviva from many synagogues and a beloved member of ours, and Cantor Ruth, of course, and Sandra for reading. Thank you all for making this a very holy, solemn, but beautiful occasion in its right. We also, before we conclude, pause to remember those who are no longer with us. And on behalf of anyone who is marking a yahrzeit or in mourning, and I'll invite anyone who is marking a yahrzeit or in mourning to rise at this time. We'll say the Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgidal v'yitkedash Shemei Rabbah, Ba'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon u'v'yamechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'gala u'v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mivarach Leolam Alalmei Almaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitramam v'yitnasei v'yitadar v'yitalei v'yitalal Shmei D'Kudsha Brihu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata.
We continue with Cantor Paul.
Thank you. We had lost your audio for some reason, but may the Holy One comfort all those who are in mourning. So I just want to echo So I just wanted to echo Rabbi Carrier's words of thanks, not only to the rabbis and cantors and Sandra who participated, but also to those who are helping with the technology, which is never as simple as we would like it to be, but I thought everything came through very clearly and effectively, and I appreciate all the contributions of those who made that happen, whether here or in Pasadena, or all of you online or on Zoom or on Facebook or YouTube with us. So we're going to conclude with the words of Ani Mamin. It's from Maimonides. It's Maimonides 13, from Maimonides 13 Principles of Faith. And the English is, I believe, with perfect faith in the coming of Mashiach, the coming of Messiah. And even if Mashiach is delayed, I will wait. It's Mashiach's birthday today, Rabbi says. That's right. Rabbi Kupitz contributed that factoid. Ani mamin, ani mamin, ani mamin, ani mamin, be'emunah shlema, be'emunah shlema, v'viat HaMashiach, v'viat HaMashiach, ani mamin, v'viat HaMashiach, v'viat HaMashiach, ani mamin, ani mamin, ani mamin, ani mamin, ani mamin, be'emunah shlema, be'emunah shlema, ve'af al pi she'yitmamea im kol ze ani mamin, ve'af al pi she'yitmamea im kol ze ani mamin, ani mamin, ani mamin, ani mamin, ani mamin, be'emunah shlema, be'emunah shlema, im kol ze achake lo v'chol yom she'yavo, im kol ze achake lo v'chol yom she'yavo. Ani mamin, ani mamin, ani mamin. Toda Rabbah. Anyone else want to share any closing words? If not, this would conclude our time together for Tisha B'Av. May those of you who are fasting be able to do so easily. And once again, thank you to our friends at PJTC for joining us, and all of you from whatever communities you belong to for joining us. And I'll unmute myself, see if anybody has any last words. Hearing none, we'll be closing the Zoom in about 15 seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Erev Tov.
For safety, I encourage you to put your shoes back on before you go to the park.